First na obi di program no. Eti no wo bi odi ne de. Omunya omutenti omo ando wo fe nyina no. Me ka che omo say ne no e life. Eti omo modi ne omo frɛ omo busua na omo ntena ho ne de life e na wo de ba. Ade ntima ka ne say wie no fa. E live video na me dane ama wo. No obodo. Ebusum.
Edasi.
Pacho me sumedasi.
Na yɛchia ahwefo nyina
Hwefo eche so.
Bebra ekopia shama. Sewani.
Seme ka kire. Edra de se ka mi wo bi o.
Na yekoye no omo so gi efeso.
Okay.
E ma DJ buy.
Okay.
Ano pay mini opai nyansani afre yedi nkomo echi sa fi bi e ma de holachi e ma no ben. Organizer.
Oh, okay. Benizai. But you said,
well, none of them are so vibrant.
I see.
And Mada almost a casa fool, so I'm saying, maybe the Saba be if you do so.
Okay.
I'm not Bashana of women.
Okay.
If you saw me, the peso, and
okay.
I'm a master boss. A Bessako who be.
Oh, okay.
In general, a mature and mamma.
And you see, I never mean some.
Okay. So, you better to say. If you said anyone who went,
Emma,
me who dream, until me suffer, so I must National Council. So, a quantum, that's a bit more task force. Food soldiers, be normal command, who as some consider the entertainment organizer. Because I mean, so vibrant to say.
Okay.
And so say, you know,
okay.
And to the movie, yeah, no make sure say, no be included.
Okay.
Internet the whole.
Yeah, that's it. Offer I can say you be share near the next time I offer you record me sell bo and dey any kaswa nyina and be boom na ye dey akọ. Nti akra so madam wase say dwumadie say no mutaya chire ma dwumadie na akọ ye kama aye ni so. Madam nyina ye da mu nyina se mpanyi for dam wase. Sir.
Okay. Now last week, advantage we can say, Sababu was said before the true idea. Other than a contradiction. And to an example. Now, in an answer, we are not on the question be moved back because I know scriptures no place see assembly air. Topic now has got nothing to do with maybe also free ban. The council say before the true idea. Contradiction woman and a new year no be said Old Testament and New Testament I can't be mama and woman back Old Testament they train in Hebrew cousin New Testament they train in Greek cousin they come from two different historical perspectives.
Okay.
Old Testament Israel or mine Israelites as a people of money, any woman coupon, Nikita Hudi, and I'll be here Old Testament. A can be different in Shia, any no say, maybe inside the camera, my family, some mobile nanti. We didn't share as no team in here. We share with dinner in Mukai. Maybe I know Chivania, the name of the camera. Sounds like New Testament new so the same black Hebrew Israelites woman dream and woman she share the Greek and the more or less I say they have been overwhelmed by Greek culture and a form of Hellenization. It did not be only from the eyes of Greek. I say, British will be doing so. Now, you heard my mamma cry, you heard from Blue, and it's British in the same area. Now, maybe come by and say, Paul, under the influence of Hellenism, and I hear Omar say, Samuel, I see us we are Bob, don't want now more the spiritual Israel. And the reach Gentile lands. Samia, you call her the more. You bet me I can and someone want to be ready. And the area say, ye de wo mu gidie bi kakra ebeba be ka yakupon no kura no ni za bo ye no eni wo mu ni gidie ntu di ko na ko ka asem a on ba ti ase no ma gie di eni wo mu ye na buta na church every say what will the New Testament in the quote here Old Testament.
Okay.
Nti aye book baako na nsusu no the dikane say Old Testament the train Greek cast the train Hebrew custom and I will the train Greek custom and the aba bi bomu segment okwa no beko. When na missionaries na ba Africa no wọ́n mú báyẹ̀ wọ́n mú àwọn mpèsè wọ́n mú bí asọ́fọ́ náà mú tí báàbò àti náà mú kọ́ ẹnu mú à mú kọ́ ọ̀sẹ̀ ní kírísòfò no bí abúlé kẹ́kẹ́ mú ní sẹ́ Old Testament ní bí ẹ̀kẹ́ New Testament ní nà wọ́n hó ẹni nà bẹ́ẹ̀ má mú nkwájìẹ ẹni nà nkwájìẹ no ẹ̀yẹ salvation by faith wọ́n mú káwọn yìí nyinaa kyerẹ́ yẹn adé ntí ni wọ́n mú yí Old Testament na fi kwen ehona ogbo ade nkom sofo ni nsemo mo kan ni ehona ogbo ade mira odi amma Israel man se yi ni no ehona ni nyina wo nti akoba se enalo mwahwe New Testament ni to the extent say ekire ewu kan ma asendu so Old Testament wo bi ba 7 day na ya meda wo say no bi ameda o say that's a didi humeda emi na aka ni petri it is a contradiction bi number na so we mean the history behind the Old Testament New Testament now the other kind of say contradiction ewo maka wi le say na maka no o sa ka say we di message bi e ba na so we fu na ba ni ya no ebize we say now we distract attention every adia e pese ye kan so
okay
na na aka enwe wie no na ba ene die no so
okay yes
na no so itie bia wo kan na de nkofo kan se na bi ni so tambe e pato e bi before kwa no hu be bia wo na o wo hu be bia mo hihye ndi ye be na wo ba ba to ya atu ya ka se bi da be no ba wo ya start se di akira no yenko e ka yaka conclusion ya nka program kan ke yin se beye nti besre mo o mi enko he last week ni bi en ka so bi asiri na black Noah tuntun ne mama mi ensa tuntun o mo yin tuntun e ma video se yi na no confirm no say bibina na kokon bo no bo benanti asasi so enti na biasi na tuntun ene ko ba se great flood no ba ye chi no let us say wo mo aka no ni wa ni mani o mo yiri nipa 8 na ba no so number 8 ye hweli ni a 8 jina ho no a new beginning edi nipa 8 e dey charge now o mo say o mo hwe na mo nore na mo populate asasi so enti e ko ba se sa na tie dia ye be che nsase no ama ne wa man eni wo mo asiku gina enti e first picture e ko he map no a e kire ye senia e chiche nsase no obi anya ne die se be sitie na ne achi no na afi ye be hwehwe se o mo ye tuntun na so o mo ye kokwa na so o mo ye den e kwa ko enti first picture no
okay the first picture no ye hwe na bobi e da so no ye map showing lands allotted to Shem, Japheth and Ham to populate the earth after the flood. But the picture no I crowd am fanto so
e da ho no
okay but am fanto so my MCR picture no I'm sorry okay
enti Africa de no ye Ham ana asia de no light violet color na so pink color no
okay
and we Ham Shem
okay
na eno no yen samuel ya kana beba Island nso bebree.
Okay.
Okay. Shem deɛ no starting with Northeast Africa ekopie Asia.
Okay.
Ɛno yɛ Shem and Sasi.
Okay.
Ɛna ne so no light yellow no.
Okay.
Ɛno nso yɛ Japhet.
Okay.
Say the name we are selecting baby and say na dey yi America no yɛ film. When we go Asia no and later on we migrate when we go to the Americas.
Okay.
And then once we be next week near back. Any me say we no I dey no dey Bible kan no dey Bible aba.
Okay.
We man in king kan dey ro ni so you know.
Okay.
Nti we have Genesis 10 na yakafi verses 1 now we are going to go 22 to 31. Genesis 10 verse 1 now we are going verses 22 to 31. Shem was on na yek.
Okay. If you can there now Genesis chapter 10 verse 1 no if you are 7 year Noah's family. I say now these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. Okay, the year one until you jump accord 22
to 31.
Okay, 22 no. The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Apach, Had, and Lud, and Aram. And the children of Aram, As, and Hal, and Jita, and Mash. And Apach had begot, and Apach had begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber. And unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan begot Amodad, and Shileth, and Hazamaveh, and Jira, and Hadar, and Hadoram, and Uzal, and Dikla, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. 30. And their dwelling was from Misha, as thou goest unto Sephar, a mount of the east. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. 32. Okay, 31.
Okay. Genesis 11.
Okay.
Now, the mountain will not say, Shem, from Mabubu or woman, let's just say, lands there can say, Yachama woman. And you before the best populated being na. And you think I can say, Shem, and I know what you also be our women, and the big to and you then after the where can say, when you see, now so, okay, Ema hu omu ya nkokon enu na wi tirim am pese yitimi hu ba bia abibifo wo na chire no e na afi bibisa se na ye de na nkokon no so e bae about 11 10 to 26.
Okay, we can Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 to 26. Okay, these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years, 100 years old, and begot Apach, had 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begot Apach, had 500 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Apach had lived 5 430 years, and begot Shelah. And Arpachshad had lived after he begot Shelah 403 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and begot Eber. And Shelah lived after he begot Eber 403 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430. And Eber lived 430 years, and begot Peleg. And Eber lived after he begot Peleg 430 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and begot Reu. And Peleg lived after he begot Reu 209 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years, and begot Sirach. And Reu lived after he begot Sirach 207 years, and begot sons and daughters. Okay, of the 22. And Sirach lived 30 years, and begot Nahor. And Sirach lived after he begot Nahor 200 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and begot Terah. And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 119 years, and begot sons and daughters. 26. And Terah lived 70 years, and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran of Ampacho Mary.
No, that's it. What you mean? Can with me details, no. After the first picture.
Okay.
Right, your second picture.
Okay. Your second picture, no, about the that's no Love and Life, December 2nd to 8th, 2001. The original and indigenous people of Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, and India were blacks from the African continent. But your picture, no, I already am moving to so informal. Okay.
Next picture.
Next picture, no, New African, October 2003, The Lost Tribe. Sa picture, no, I already am moving to so my.
And over kai BB.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The Lost Tribe, no, the Lost Tribe. I see the African presence in Asia is well documented by Homer, 8th century BC, and Europe's father of history, Herodotus, 5th century BC. Negroid skeletal remains in Asia date back 95,000 years. As Africans in the UK, both continental and diasporan, celebrate Black History Month this month, October, we asked Amani Olubanjo Buntu, a lecturer and consultant at the Institute of Africology in South Africa, to take a closer look at the history of the African glory and downfall in Asia. This is part 1 of his 2-part series. Of Ampacho.
No, that's it.
Okay, Ampacho.
Now, Asia, indigenous people, no,
were black.
Yeah. Next picture.
Next picture, no, Africa Watch, December 2010. Black Indian Dalits monks. Black Indian Dalits monks. What was that picture? No, so MIA. MCR. Sa picture no aye yi kakra na. African Watch, December 2010. Black Indian Dalit monks. Okay. Of MCR say picture no a mix you kakra. Enti minim say yentoa so anase
so sa na tie dia. Yankwa first video.
Okay. Okay. Enti pacho MCR mo here picture no as we go for the video. video bi kan na yɛbɛhyɛ no when India was black. When India was black. No just a video no enu maye.
That recent scientific studies of DNA confirm our understanding that modern humanity or migrations of early African people were pivotal. Without these movements, humanity would have remained exclusively Africoid, and regions beyond the African continent would have lacked human life altogether. This knowledge underscores the interconnectedness of all human beings and highlights the rich and diverse tapestry of our shared ancestry rooted in Africa. India, like many other regions, bears witness to the profound influence and contributions of black people in shaping some of the world's earliest and enduring civilizations. Godfrey Higgins was a courageous English historian born in 1772 who wrote a great work titled Anacalypsis, a significant work delving into the ancient African presence in Asia. Published during a time when it was dangerous to advocate for the positive contributions of people of African descent, Anacalypsis stood out as an exceptional piece of historical research. At that period in history, most Europeans were misled into believing that Africans had made no substantial impact on world civilization. This prevailing misconception served the interests of the highly profitable slave trade, making it dangerous to acknowledge the noble and civilized history of Africans who had pioneered world civilization for thousands of years. Shining a light on the rich and overlooked history of ancient Africans in Asia and across the world, despite the risks involved. In the book he wrote, I shall, in the course of this work, produce a number of extraordinary facts, which will be quite sufficient to prove that a black race, in very early times, had more influence over the affairs of the world than has been lately suspected. And I think I shall show by some very striking circumstances yet existing that the effects of this influence have not entirely passed away. Higgins repeated the declaration by Homer, the ancient Greek philosopher, that there was in existence two major Ethiopian nations, the one in Africa, i.e. all Africa south of Egypt, and the other one, India. In fact, Herodotus, the legendary ancient Greek scholar known as the father of history, referred to India as Eastern Ethiopia. According to Higgins, there were two Ethiopias, one to the east of the Red Sea and the other to the west of it, and a very great nation of blacks did rule over almost all Asia in a very remote era, in fact, beyond the reach of history or any of our records. It was the opinion of Sir William Jones that a great nation of blacks formerly possessed the dominion of Asia and held the seat of empire at Sidon. These must have been the people called by Mr. Morris Cushites, described in Genesis, and the opinion that they were blacks is corroborated by the translators of the Pentateuch, called the 70, constantly rendering the word Kush by Ethiopia. The religion of Buddha of India is well known to have been very ancient. In the most ancient temples scattered throughout Asia, where his worship is yet continued, he is found black as jet, with a flat face, thick lips, and curly hair of the Negro. Several statues of him may be met with in the Museum of the East India Company. There are two exemplars of him, brooded in the face of the deep upon a coiled serpent. To what time are we to allot this Negro? He will be proved to have been prior to the god called Krishna. He must have been prior to or contemporaneous with the Black Empire supposed by Sir William Jones to have flourished at Sidon. The religion of this Negro god is found by the ruins of his temples and other circumstances to have been spread over an immense extent of country, even to the remotest parts of Britain, and to have been professed by devotees inconceivably numerous. Mr. Wilford, in his treatise on Egypt and the Nile, in the Asiatic Researches, informs us that many very ancient statues of the god Buddha in India have crisp curly hair with flat noses and thick lips, and adds, nor can it be reasonably doubted that a race of Negroes formerly had power and preeminence in India. This is confirmed by Mr. Morris, who says, the figures in the Hindu coverings are of a very different character from the present race of Hindus. Their countenances are broad and full, the nose flat, and the lips, particularly the underlip, remarkably thick. Higgins compared the findings to African artifacts, saying, "This is again confirmed by Colonel Fitzclarence in the journal of his journey from India, and Morris in the first volume of his Indian Antiquities states that the figures in the caves in India and in the temples in Egypt are absolutely the same." In my essay on the Celtic Druids, I have shown that a great nation called Celtae, of whom the Druids were the priests, spread themselves almost over the whole earth, and are to be traced in their gigantic monuments from India to the extremity of Britain. Who these can have been, but the early individuals of the black nation of whom we have been treated, I know not, and in this opinion I am not singular. The learned Morris says, Cushites built the great temples in India and Britain, and excavated the caves of the former. And the learned mathematician Reuben Burrow has no hesitation in pronouncing Stonehenge to be a temple of the black, curly-headed Buddha. The famous Italian explorer Marco Polo, after visiting the Pandyan kingdom of India in 1288, wrote that, "The darkest man here is the most highly esteemed and considered better than the others who are not so dark." Let me add that in very truth, these people portray and depict their gods and their idols black, and their devils white as snow. For they say that God and all the saints are black, and the devils are all white. That is why they portray them as I have described. According to scholars, more than 1,000 years before the foundations of Greece and Rome, proud and industrious black men and women, known as the Dravidians, erected a powerful civilization in the Indus Valley. From these origins, African kings in India drove the region's commerce, culture, and belief systems.
Arusia Wake Up Africa dwumadie na woguso a wo hwe yi ontimi yi ufidie ni fi hawo we ye history na ne meda ne say Greek biggest historian, Italian historians, UK historians, and a prove say of a summer kan wa say Shem and Asia na eni dia e na ofa ye no eno na omo kan ho asem prove say in the ancient time, in those times no na before nko na wo Asia ho India omo nyina historians from Italian historian, UK historian, Greek historian kesiya pa omo nyina akyere se India ho no nyina no Asia ho no nyina no na ye blacks nko na wo ho ansa na akyire no we ya abrofo na e ka ho asem omo de omo ba hwehwe hu akyere se ampa and o maye history way documentary and ya ye and offer akofa ba ye nya obabia over the pata be won ko he the Africa Watch. Okay, Africa Watch. December yeah picture no. December 2010. Black Indian Dalit monks. Pacho offer sa picture no ento somaye. Say aye crowd wa mo fa to somaye. Okay. Aha. We there before pa. We go ni bianim. Next picture. Okay. Next picture no. Quiet Trail. I said Quiet Trail worldwide. Asian Black Chinese. But sa picture na e crowd am fanto so mai. Okay, you fi India ba China.
Afi yen ko he ye video etoso.
Okay. Your video etoso no abodi da so no ye. China's original African roots. Sa video na crowd am fan enguso ento mai, unjagu mai.
In 1998, the proceedings of the National Academy of Science concluded a study by the Chinese Human Genome Diversity Project and made public their findings, which stated that most of the population of modern China, 1/5 of all the people living today, owes its genetic origins to Africa. The study was the result of a consortium of several leading research groups in the People's Republic of China in combination with the Human Genetics Center at the University of Texas Health Center in Houston, Texas. In addition to genetic evidence linking China to Africa, archaeological evidence has recorded close to 100 pyramids that are located in a 100-kilometer area around the city of Xi in central China. I can't help but wonder, why are these pyramids shrouded in mystery? What are they hiding? This site is also well known as the location of the famous life-size terracotta warriors. Further study of this history and art of the Shang and the Zhou dynasties in China will reveal even more African influence. This information and evidence points to a clear interaction and anthropological connection to China's African roots.
China's first dynasty and emperor were Africoid, or of black origins. Founded by King Te, the earliest documented rulership in China was the Shang or the Xiang dynasty. The Shang were credited with unifying China's earliest elements to form their first civilization. The Shang were given the name the Naki, Na meaning black and Qi meaning man. The first Chinese emperor, the legendary Fuxi, was a woolly-haired black man. Among his credits are establishing government and originating social institutions, as well as cultural inventions. He is said to be the originator of the I Ching, the Book of Change. It is among the oldest and most revered system of philosophy. Emperor Hong Wu was founder of the Great Ming Dynasty of China. He was African, Sudanese, and Mongolian descent and was also a Muslim. The skills that set the foundation for Shaolin Kung Fu descend from India and Africoid origins. Even in the White Garment Hall of the Shaolin Monastery in Hunan, province of China, there are 12-foot-long paintings of Chinese and Africoid Shaolin monks training boxing skills together. Although not promoted and somewhat hidden, it shows striking evidence of the deep interrelation of Africa, the martial arts, and Asia. There have been efforts made to cover up the facts. Even the original Chinese, called Li Min, and the Ainu of Japan were Africans. Also, there are books written to prove this fact,
such as The African Presence in Early Asia, authors Dr. Ivan van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi, and African Star Over Asia, The Black Presence in the Early East by Runoko Rashidi, and there are many others.
China's first dynasty and emperor, founded by King Te, who was black. The earliest documented rulership of China was the Shang dynasty from 1500 to 1008 BC, which is credited with bringing together the elements of China's earliest civilization. The Shang was given the name Naki under the Black Dynasty. The Black Chinese established the basic form of graceful calligraphy that has lasted to the present day. The first Chinese emperor, the legendary Fuxi, was without a doubt black, and his African brothers and sisters established government, social institutions, and cultural inventions. They are credited with the creation of the I Ching, or the Book of Change, which is the oldest, most revered system of prophecy. It is known to have influenced the most distinguished philosophers of Chinese thought.
We'd also like to point out that in a genetic study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Genetics, scientists found evidence that the first Africans arrived in China around 60,000 years ago. Population researcher and geneticist Li Jin said, "Our work shows that modern people came to Southeast Asia and then moved to northern China. This supports the idea that modern people came from Africa."
Memo akwa babium na ene dwumadi no mani age papa isan se mihu Africa sa na mani age. China omo hene a odi kan a oye China omo si omo ye eye ahimie sem omo hye ase no no ye tum na ne din no asechire ne se black man na enye no nkwa o papa eye kung fu Shaolin ya hwe ni movie yende den Snake in the Monkey Shadow no mo yiye ni nyina no nipa ode ba wiase mu eye nipa tuntum ofi Sudan or Sudanese ono okopie China black and the institutes ade ni nyina eye obroni na ye yo nso na o mafa ni nyina te se omo kwesi kokko no mo ho no mo ye we ana ofa ema ye hwe documentary a omo anoma ye na omo ye study we Chinese Science Center enye ofa na ye you Chinese for nankasa omo Science Center in collaboration no mo ka bo mo ne University of Texas for and omo ye sa hwehwemi ehu sa ne ma we nyina ene ofa akọfa ne video aba se ye kasa bibifo a China na ye bibifo ene dominate enti hey ni so over pacho maba
yo ko fi mi da se
yo
na shem na Asian lands ni nyina ekura no nanso hamba Canaan ono so hotel ni ntaba mu e de kopie Asia ho nso ama ne baba ko a ewe Canaan ne ma awo mu no ba ko mu a ne efe no sin as scripture refer to him as Sinite ono so ekopie ho we na be amagbo ewe hwehwemu hu se ono no so no krampo emetimi ko yema yenya China for civilization no ifrase ewo Sinite imu yan pese ebeka no wa ama konti no yebeko Genesis chapter 10 verses 15 to 18 ya ko Cain abano a ye freno sin
yo ye can Genesis chapter 10 yes I say 15 of 15 to
15 to 18
15 to 18 15 no and Canaan begot Sinod his firstborn and 17 Heth and the Jebusite and the Amorite and the Girgashite 17 and the Hivite and the Akite and the Sinite 18 okay
Sinite no na mpeso
okay
na enua na wo First Chronicles 1:13 to 15 to beko Isaiah
okay
49
okay
12
Isaiah chapter 49 verse 12 I say behold ye shall come from far and lo these from the north and from the west and these from the land of Sinim
no ma footnote
okay nti ye be kind
footnote yes
I say this is one of the clearest of the Old Testament intimation of the Trinity for the speaker here is not
second one
okay second one
42 49 12
okay so footnote na fa 40 chapter Isaiah chapter 49 12 no I said the word Sinim is supposed to refer to a people of the far east, perhaps the Chinese.
It is a Sabia China for Emma Eviasity as say Sayasian Casani free send Hobia and you will create prefix be prefix no one by Viasity born who is a worker sign that was all referred to China. And the next picture, Ghanaian Times.
Okay, your next picture no, Ghanaian Times, 9th September 2011. Sino African Relations. Sa picture no aye kada mo fanto so mai.
And the Sino African Relations. China African Relations. And about when the man ya no Ghana ni next picture.
Next picture is a daily graphic. 12th November 2019. China releases funds for Sino Hydro project.
Oh, okay. And the Sino Hydro no Sino no China for me we are see for na ati asese. You dey free. Sin Canaan ba sin ne ba ne ma civilization enti say ye person identify who may be as who and dia we can Sino and into the first one by Sino-African relations and have the engineer sika mbobisi Sino hydro
project.
You go here next video.
Okay. Your next video no about the person who is Sin and Chinese origin mysteries of biblical genealogy. No just a video no and from Mumbai.
The Bible mentions a character named Togarma, who is part of the lineage of Japheth. According to the book of Ezekiel, Togarma is considered one of the ancestors of the Far Eastern peoples. The book describes the house of Togarma and its troops. Furthermore, there's another Asian origin that can be traced back to a different biblical character, who is considered one of the ancestors of the Chinese. This character has his lineage connected to Canaan. Interestingly, neither he nor his people are mentioned or seen by Joshua and Moses as enemies of the Israelites, unlike other Canaanites. This character is known as Sin, also called Shine, and his name is remarkably similar to various terms, including the name China itself. In Hebrew, his name is pronounced as Shimi, and may have meanings related to peak, clay, or mud, although some suggest a meaning associated with the moon. Sin, the son of Canaan, is part of the lineage of Ham, who is the son of Noah. Therefore, he was one of Noah's grandsons, being one of the 11 sons of Canaan. Sin is indirectly mentioned in the Bible through his descendants, known as Sinians in the Portuguese version and Sinites in the English version. These different ways of naming the people can be confusing. It is believed that the Sinians, who were Sin's people, the Chinese, had their origins in Zim, a coastal city north of Phoenicia. Interestingly, the Sinians were not one of the Canaanite tribes that Joshua received divine orders to destroy, which possibly places them under the influence of the prefix Shin, related to Proto-Chinese settlement in the east or lands called Sinear, or Mason, the land of Sin. It is believed that the curse of Canaan did not apply to one of his sons, and this son may have been the ancestor of the ancient Chinese, due to the Sinites or Sinians not inhabiting the land of Canaan, which did not belong to them, according to ancient Jewish beliefs and traditions, as described in the Book of Jubilees. The identification of Sin and the Sinians as the Chinese or ancestors of the Chinese is intriguing, especially because the Sinites are mentioned in Isaiah 49 verse 12, which says, "Behold, these shall come from afar, and behold, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim." According to the perspectives of John Wesley and John Gill, the reference to the land of Sinim can be interpreted in two ways. For some, Sinim is related to nomadic peoples, while others argue that the text refers to a city called Sin located in Egypt. Thus, the land of Sinim could be understood as a reference to Egypt. However, Manasseh ben Israel, cited by John Gill, proposes an alternative interpretation, suggesting that the Sinites mentioned in the text are actually the Chinese. He bases this interpretation on the fact that Claudius Ptolemy, in his work Geography, referred to China as the land of Sin. Furthermore, in other historical and biblical contexts, the word Sin is mentioned. For example, in the Chronicles of Jeremiah, Sin is identified as one of the sons of Canaan. It is also associated with a desert between Elim and Sinai, as recorded in Exodus 16 verse 1 and Numbers 33:11-12. In the context of ancient Mesopotamian religions, Sin was the name of the moon god, the father of the sun god Samas, Sumerian, Utu, and in some myths, of Ishtar, Sumerian, Inanna, the deity of Venus. This formed an astral triad of deities. Regarding linguistic identification, various words and prefixes related to Sin or variations of the name are often associated with ancient China. For example, Xi'an is the capital of Shaanxi province, Xi'an is an autonomous region in China. There are also other variations such as Shanghai, a major Chinese city, Shaanxi, a Chinese province, Shandong, another Chinese city, Shenyang, another Chinese city, and Tianjin, also a Chinese city. These terms and ancient references often allude to Chinese origin, suggesting that the ancient Chinese may have some connection to the Sinians, or Sinites, mentioned in the text. In addition to Sin being considered one of the ancestors of Asian peoples, including not only the Chinese but also the Japanese, Koreans, Filipinos, Indonesians, and other ancient groups, it is believed that over time, his descendants mixed with the descendants of Tagarma, resulting in different lineages. These divisions would include the native indigenous peoples of the Americas, who arrived long ago from Asia, as well as the Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, Filipinos, Indonesians, Mongolians, and others, all considered descendants of Sin, possibly influenced by the lineage of Tagarma. People with lighter skin tones may have descended from Tagarma, while those with shades of brown skin, ranging from light brown to medium beige, may have origins in Sin, the son of Canaan. This relationship can explain the phenotypic variations in skin tones found among Native Americans compared to some Asian peoples. Scientific research has already confirmed the Asian origin of some Native American peoples, resulting from ancient contacts and interactions between these cultures. These cultural exchanges gave rise to new languages and dialects, known as Far Asian languages and Proto-Caribbean languages. Some even point out similarities in intonation and speaking patterns between the Japanese language and some Native American languages. Some linguists propose this assumption, also highlighting possible sound similarities, especially between the Japanese language and some Native American languages in North America. Indeed, the relationship between the Chinese and their possible descent from Sin and Tagarma is widely discussed and often based on historical and mythological evidence. Their land, often called Sinan, has been associated with these ancestors, with Sin and Tagarma considered the progenitors of the ancient Mongolic Chinese family. Ancient records, such as Egyptian monuments, depict these peoples with distinctive features, including prominent noses, full lips, large cheeks, and hairless or beardless faces. The range of skin tones, varying from brown to lighter shades and even reddish-brown, shows notable similarities to some indigenous people. Hair is often described as black and straight, while eyes are mentioned as dark brown or deep brown. Some representations also suggest slightly slanted eyes. The name Tagarma itself, which means pulled or broken, could indeed be a reference to the appearance of their eyes. The term Kiti in Hittite cuneiform, which translates as Kaitai, represented a powerful nation in the Far East, known as Kaitai, and this reference has persisted over the centuries in the term Katai. These historical and etymological connections are fascinating and continue to be the subject of study and discussion among historians and linguists. The Katai were an ethnic group that belonged to the ancient Chinese primordial family. The connections between the Chinese and the Katai were evident in various aspects, such as their clothing, the style of shoes they wore, and the way they braided their hair, among other details. Historical representations often depicted them with prominent cheeks, and craniologists noted common similarities between them and other Mongolic ethnic groups. The figure of Sin plays a significant role in the Far East, being associated with the possible origin of Chinese civilization.
Sabri Wake Up Africa Jumadi na wani gusu a wuhye na eye video a ye hwe kire history a kire se ampa Sin a ye kan ho asem wo Bible ni mu no na oye Noah nana eni Goma omo ase eni kopie ewo Asia ho a ye ka Japanese Chinese for no omo maka nyina na Filipinos ni omo wo ho nyina na omunyina omase no Abraham nana Noah emma no Shem ne Japheth ne Ham Asia se no tete ye no omukopie ho no eno omuno mkopie ho na omukyiremu a kire kasa bi ne language bi ene relating to baby omote ne edin eda so no a ne nyina no o study a hwehwe a obo se ba besi eye Sin ene Goma omadiye ni omuhyehyeye a omu dressing po omutiri nyi se no omoyeye no ohwehwa a linki be si say sankofo nyina na omo wo sa area ho no nyina no omo ye bibifo asefo a na bibifo na dominate wa omade mu no ene nne omo mo nyina na piki a omo gusu eye no na ke say ho no mu nyina no eye bibifo asase a bibifo na tena ho de civilization eba ho of ambacho
no da say enti say yaka China dia na automatically say na aka ni Japan so sa na tie sen kuya no ne namo na Japan dia ade ba ko aban say there are certain African languages almost share similar words. Uko to say Nigeria, formerly Benin City State, one of them, Ido is in a Tokyo, the TTD. Enti, your next video now about more of linguistic similarities between Chinese any Yoruba or your state. Your next video.
I see. Okay. Your next video no Japan's African roots. Japan's African roots. Unfasa video no emu mai.
Scholars have found utterly astonishing linguistic connections between several Asian and African languages, with several African native languages being spoken right now by populations in Asia. For instance, Mian or Yao is a group of related languages spoken by the Yao people, a Bantu group in Malawi, Mozambique, Tanzania. They are also called Wayao. They speak the same language in terms of nouns and verbs with the Mian tribal group of China today. If the Yao can trace the origin of their language from China with sufficient facts, what will then stop the Magavu man of Nigeria and other tribes or related groups from the Niger-Congo family from doing the same, since they shared a lot of wordings and pronunciations in common and in practice? Bali is spoken in Indonesia and at the same time in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and so also is Sotho, which is spoken in Lesotho, South Africa and Botswana. According to Higgins, author of the world-famous sensational work Anacalypsis, a very great nation of blacks did rule over almost all Asia in a very remote era, in fact beyond the reach of history or any of our records. And relating to his wider research, he declared, "We have found the black complexion or something relating to it whenever we have approached the origin of nations." And H. Imbert, a French anthropologist, said in his book Les Negritos de la Chine, "The Negroid races peopled at some time all the south of India, Indochina and China. The south of Indochina actually has now pure Negritos as the Semangs and mixed as the Malays and the Sakes." Chinese dynastic records from as early as 192 CE reference a kingdom of Lin Yi, which meant the land of black men. They stated the inhabitants possessed black skin, eyes deep in the orbit, nose turned up, hair frizzy, at a period when they were not yet subject to foreign domination, and preserved the purity of this type. The fate of the black kingdoms and the black people of Far East Asia must be tied to increased pressure from non-Africoid peoples pushing down from Northern Asia, according to scholars. Ships of the Lin Yi, known to the Chinese by the appellation Kunlun Bo, meaning vessels of black men, were navigating the currents of the Indian Ocean from Southeast Asia to Madagascar. According to British author Godfrey Higgins in his world-famous work Anacalypsis, Funan is the name given by Chinese historians to the earliest kingdom of Southeast Asia. Its builders were black people known as Khmers, a name that loudly recalls ancient Kemet, Egypt. In remote antiquity, the Khmers seem to have established themselves throughout a vast area that encompassed Myanmar, Kampuchea, Laos, Malaysia, Thailand and Vietnam. To conclude, we have the names. The Japanese names, which when read out to people in Nigeria, are frequently met by absolute astonishment at the incredible similarity. Most of these Japanese names are also pure Nigerian names. Many are not Edo Benin names, but are from their neighboring Igbo, Yoruba and Hausa regions as well, all in the same country of Nigeria. because Benin was an empire which encompassed parts of those regions in the past. So it's not at all inconceivable that members of other ethnicities would have been part of Benin's expeditions. Any person from the country of Nigeria should please tell us what he or she thinks of this list in the comments below. What we can tell you is that if you went to a market square in the middle of Nigeria today and read out these names to a crowd, and at the end told them that you were calling out Japanese names, they will laugh and call you a clown and say you were crazy. Probably even chase you out of the market and say you were there to mess with people's heads. Indeed, anyone familiar with Nigerians will recognize many of these names straight away. So here goes. Now, when this comparison has been done in the past, the list of names has tended to be quite small, making it easier for some people to put it down to coincidence. So we went to town on it and deliberately did the research to pin down those Japanese names in their 100 and see what they tell us. Because here at the African History Station, the word coincidence does not really sit very well with our researchers, because we believe that where there's a connection, there's a history. So here goes, really briefly. So this is all a lot of supportive evidence of African movement and dominance of the region in antiquity. And as we look on the right of the screen at these incredible, astonishing sculptural images from the Edo period of Japan that just scream Africans, and consider the DNA evidence linking them to Nigeria, we ask the question, were the Edo people of the Benin Empire of ancient Nigeria in Africa involved in the Edo period of Japan? Here at the African History Station, we say, yes, they were. Thanks for watching this episode. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe, and look out for the next one on Africa's Great Civilizations.
Me mo akwaba ediba Wake Up Africa jumadie so uguso ehwe Wake Up Africa na jumadie no history ene ofadeye ko history mu na enema na oyi pie no enye easy o a tire say ye kasai o hwe China fo din ahodo a obe pie mu wa Nigeria eni Benin sadin no tayo no mu ne kan nyina ukọ China ne omo waka na sadin na ahodo ne bebre na stadium ayo wenye Muslim kase o kan keke wenye hwehwemu ne mpensam o maye kasa mu no kasa ni bi wo ha obekọ Sudan na Sudan fo kasa bi o mo kasa ni mu kan pronunciation ne nsam bi o mo ka no obekọ China Japan ene o mo maka no obekọ na sansam no so frafra o mo so mo kasam ninchire mu no saa pepepe enete edin chese enyema bebre mu no na chese ampa eno ena o masan chire mu kura kase ihwehwemu no DNA onipa ne chire se oye asimesi oye sei no saa nipa ihwehwemu no akwa nhwehwemu no bi amaye amomahu se ampa Japan China ene Asia ho no de omasina no omo ya bibifo omo fi eno ade video no ede na bi na ma ya ti ase se ampa Asia fo ho no nyina no omase omade omkasa omudi omototo niam bebre no elinke connect to bibifo ofa ipacho
we da se me de no ba besi na me de no ba besi no ye be hwe pictures bi na fi akọ last video where every black person is in Asia. By Ansana video no be bano. Your next picture near.
The next picture near National Geographic, February 1988. The first Australians. But also picture move to my. The first Australians.
before Mekoba said in the 1780s and Britain prisons ayema in the first fleet of 11 ships and loadu prisoners in Australia. All the criminals that what do you expect? Almost that is saying you go free take over the land. In the first Australians now no year before. And Australia or Madania Brofo. With the young who has an American. Next picture.
Okay. Next picture no New Africans. New African. October 2003. The small blacks.
Small blacks now all can
Mufasa picture na to Somalia.
All can say and oko Asia. Oko hodoma Ireland no so no Asia blacks communities ayeho emma and that the Kalmani haka create that so.
Okay. I say more surprisingly, the small blacks also exist in many parts of Asia, India, Burma, Cambodia, China, Malaysia, Pakistan, Philippines, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam. Okay.
By next picture.
Okay. Your next picture no Africa Watch, December 2010. Danny Phillips, Prime Minister of Solomon Islands.
Islands need be Asia, Pacific world mono, or Prime Minister. On all Tiano. Solomon Islands.
Solomon Islands. Okay. Prime Minister of Solomon Islands. Okay. Bibinipa.
In my last picture.
Africa Watch, December 2010. The Lost Tribe. Mufasa picture no to Somalia.
Omayira yehu omo and nyina Asia, Pacific and Australia. And it means say yenhwe na bi kwakun so emrem o mehwe. There bia abibifo nyina. Yankwe.
Yo. Black tribes of Asia, Pacific and Australia.
Malayic ethnic communities. The Manic people are one of the smallest ethnic groups in Thailand, and genetic studies have revealed a unique genetic heritage that reflects their isolation and distinct way of life. Their genetic markers show connections to other indigenous groups in the region and ancient populations that inhabited Southeast Asia. Phenotypically, the Manic people often have darker skin and hair well suited to their forested environment, showcasing adaptations to their surroundings such as enhanced visual acuity and agility, which aid them in their hunting and gathering activities. The Sri Lankan Kafirs. Nestled in the heart of the Indian Ocean, the teardrop-shaped island of Sri Lanka boasts a rich tapestry of cultures, traditions, and histories. Among its diverse inhabitants, one group stands out as a fascinating testament to the island's multicultural heritage, the Sri Lankan Kafirs. The origins of the Sri Lankan Kafirs can be traced back to the 16th century when Portuguese colonialists brought African slaves to the island. These slaves were primarily of Bantu and Khoisan, descent from regions now known as Mozambique, Tanzania, and South Africa. Over time, these African individuals intermingled with the local population, resulting in a unique ethnic group known as the Kafirs. Over the years, their genetics have developed as a result of intermarriage with other ethnic groups, contributing to a unique blend of African and Sri Lankan characteristics. Their phenotype often features a range of skin tones, hair textures, and facial features, reflecting the diverse ancestral heritage that defines their identity. The Malukan people of Indonesia. The Malukan people are an indigenous black community residing in the Malukan Islands of Indonesia. The origins of the Malukan people can be traced back to Austronesian migrations from Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands, with influences from neighboring regions like Papua New Guinea. These migrations over centuries laid the foundation for the diverse genetic makeup and cultural fabric of the Moluccan people. The Moluccan people are composed of various ethnic groups, including the Ambonese, Ternatians, Tidarians, and more, each with its distinct customs and languages. Studies have revealed a mix of Austronesian, Papuan, and Southeast Asian genetic markers, highlighting the complexity of their heritage. The Semang and Batek of Malaysia. Malaysia, a country renowned for its cultural diversity, is home to the Semang and Batek people, who stand as distinct groups embodying the ancestral heritage of the region. The origins of the Semang and Batek people can be traced back to the ancient inhabitants of the Malay Peninsula, contributing to the complex mosaic of Malaysia's indigenous population. These indigenous communities are believed to have inhabited the region for thousands of years, preserving their distinct way of life amidst the tides of history. The Semang and Batek people are part of the larger Orang Asli community, which translates to original people in Malay, highlighting their status as the earliest inhabitants of the peninsula. Research has indicated that these communities share genetic markers with other indigenous populations in Southeast Asia and Australian Melanesian groups. Phenotypically, both the Semang and Batek people exhibit unique physical traits adapted to their environment, such as shorter stature, darker skin, and robust physiques, a testament to the demands of living in the denser rainforests and the challenges posed by their traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyles. The East Timorese. Nestled in the maritime heart of Southeast Asia lies East Timor, a land of breathtaking landscapes and a people whose history is as rich as the diverse tapestry of their culture. The roots of the East Timorese people can be traced back to Austronesian migrations that took place thousands of years ago. This early migration brought together various ethnic groups, including the Atoni, Tetum, Mambai, and Bunak, among others. The East Timorese population is relatively small, with an estimated 1.3 million people, inhabiting the eastern part of the island of Timor, which is shared with Indonesia. The Kanak people of New Caledonia. Nestled in the heart of the South Pacific, New Caledonia is an enchanting archipelago that beckons with its turquoise waters, lush landscapes, and vibrant cultures. Among the mosaic of societies that grace this idyllic haven, the Kanak people stand as a testament to the island's rich history and diverse heritage. The Kanak people, indigenous to New Caledonia, trace their origins to the ancient Lapita culture, known for their remarkable seafaring prowess and skilled pottery. This Austronesian group, believed to have originated in Southeast Asia, ventured across vast ocean expanses, eventually settling in the Melanesian islands. Today, the Kanak people constitute a significant portion of New Caledonia's population, accounting for approximately 39% of the total inhabitants. Genetically, the Kanak people exhibit a diverse heritage resulting from centuries of interaction with neighboring Pacific Island communities and European explorers. Recent genetic studies have revealed intriguing insights into the Kanak population's ancestral makeup, showcasing a blend of Austronesian and Melanesian influences. The Black Tribes of Southern Yemen. In the southern reaches of Yemen, a captivating tapestry of cultures and histories unfolds, revealing the presence of indigenous black tribes with deep roots in the region. The Hadrami, Shabwa, and Socotra Island people are among these remarkable communities. Both the Hadrami and Shabwa people display a diverse range of genetic influences, with their genetic makeup reflecting a blend of indigenous Yemeni, Arab, and African heritage. The Akhtum tribe, in particular, bears striking phenotypical similarities to the black people of Ethiopia. While Socotra's history remains shrouded in mystery, some theories suggest that the black people of Socotra could be descendants of East African migrants who ventured across the Indian Ocean centuries ago. The island's strategic location along ancient trade routes likely facilitated the mingling of diverse populations, contributing to the unique genetic makeup of its inhabitants. Genetic studies have revealed a fascinating blend of African, Arabian, and South Asian ancestries among the Socotra Islanders, further corroborating the island's historical role as a crossroads of cultures. The Vedda of Sri Lanka. The Vedda are a minority indigenous group of people in Sri Lanka, and their existence is a testament to the island's rich cultural tapestry.
Abusia ene de dwumadie no aye huhuhu na Wake Up Africa na oguso hwe no senya ofa na minim se kese China Mpotamu province aye China Asia Mpotamu ho no mo ne de abifo gu ho pa enye na me kura na minim ya wadesua aye se esua wo adofo wonim bibia na okeka bibia keke onti asienti na okania ope na ofa ama ya dadi ama yahu se saa okọ Asia honom na the bibia ni ho adibifo ni ene nye se omo wo ho kakra bi o saa omo wo ho papa omo doso na emom no yaka omo nyira se enti no on the face of Asia no de ye mom din omo ye fa omo nyahwe omo no nyira no gu the nkrono achiri etino ye ka anya de ye kom ho asem we aye ye fere say video a edadi amaye hu China area ho no ehefa bo India Asia ho no Sri Lanka Japan ehefa Papua New Guinea eba Australia chese bebia Africa nipa tuntum ye wo hobi eno ani video a ofa ema ye ko share ya ofa ama ye hu se sana ampa shema ancient time eye no waba oteki hono no ampa na sefo no abesi nei abifo nda so wo ho a omuguso edi omjumadi a ohwe cultures ni dodo na bebiri na babi kra de eba ye no ohwe abifo no dressing na eno ana enei saa omo ye muslimi fo no omo so mafa de ayo omo dressing a enei uhu kokoko fo na asa omo no de saa dressing ni ba ya omo guso ema yehu over me pa kobi me de manu asia ni sa enti ye de we na enyina hu shem eni kina adwumade a omo asefo egusu aye e de abisi ene obo ade ma ahoden a next week ebeko ni akohwe Japhet enso ebibifo a wo muji Europe boso
ahemfo wom empress empress wom any royalties bebree na wom a na kyerɛ say black civilization edi ni mre wo wiase enti no ye bisa ne say aye bia black civilization obesa be fan into my pay frana edman was
ofa abusia no nyina eda wase se wo de wano ato na ofa se ye wie eye shem a ekire Asia ho anu nti we ba Jafet a ye Europe ekire se no aba Jafet ono fa Europe a o dominate ye na emuma enye se eye abroni bi na owo kokoko bi no ama no ofa se omunya no mo ye blacks ena omu chance asini nyina e de fire abusia ba bia ye de no ye betwa ye ho aba na ye koba na ne aka no yetumi e de abesom betwa ye ho aba twen enkoba bia
business general Abatown Ayeniko multimedia so pay video editing photo shoot photo editing documentary business advert music video funeral program birthday parties onua uni haukra esan say Niko multimedia ebeye ni nyina nanso ye wie yo so we your wedding papa bi Niko multimedia si enha ho kra o me cover ni nyina ma so we are sorry anaso say we edwumakuo bi a opese u streaming live u program aye social media handles na aye Twitter Facebook and the keka ho na Niko multimedia si woni how esan so mo ye ni nyina live abra program na ekoso Niko multimedia si omotonton gadget aye media gadget papa ebini aye audio and video equipment cameras speakers microphones mixers ni nyina Niko multimedia aye ho adwuma Niko multimedia ewo Koforidia eho ana omotare betumi afre Niko multimedia ewo 0244549107 aye Niko multimedia the media general ewo town. Thank you.
Amuna oba ye krum se oba betray yamesu eche no to nipa eche no di asase akwanu mana di asabi akwanu mana di asabi akwanu mana di asabi akwanu mana di asabi
no abisia dabi yakai ababio na minim se wonyi mfidie no efi ha oda so ete agwamu na kwakwa yedu no eye famienu ye ba yebra Israel nkroma ho na ne fa no ono so ede yen ewuram na ene no ye hwe abibi man ho asem se ye betumi afọ ntoma pefra na ewiase yasan dia boso biem my question may be so far me pese ebia ofa etena say next week no obeyi ano ye say ne all can say before you refer into my pefra no bose prophecy what your konkuru ni mu ana say history abakosem a enipa bi asua ahwehwe na ana say what your konkuru enu ye me question may be so ofa me pese next week no abusuan no nyina no minim say sa question abusuan fo be pese of be ya no e de ama yen say wo to konkuru nim aye prophecy say onyankopon akato say on ye no be ye sha asenti no sa bire ye dumi ye be san fa bi mu a yo visitation me ba to abusuan say Cape Coast ani ne man ne important aye Cape Coast central region western region Zima Takwa Bogoso sa area ho nyina no ho a seminar bi baso na a business seminar na enya asem keto akwa we wake up Africa for National Council wake up Africa mpanyifo omo na dwumadi o ma hyehye omo say Africa no problem kese e wo ba kopa mentorship ye wo sa problem ne pa eno na ofa ehu ya ofa to ne ho se obetete amanfo na oma mentor abibiman eno nti ena wake up Africa mpanyifo a ofa tete wo mo no oma fato mo se sa dwumadi o mo de baso e wo Cape Coast Duako Community Center ofi Cape Coast na okota krade a aha ewo baby a omoye canopies no eho na sa center yi ewo Duako community center time na yedi mesia mu no aye 10 am aye nondu anopa nondu pepepepepepepepe na ye hye dwumadie no ase ebia na opanchiremu bi ana pensembisa bi a pacho first pusisa ahoma yi ofresa ahoma yi a nipa no obeje so na nsembisa ani nuanu yie bi a opɛ no ɔde ama wo number no 0249 647748 0249 647748 yeba Cape Coast enye ahogo so kra yeba no ani bra so na yeba be sheki eye Cape Coast abonten enya sem ketukuma kra okay maka ne say no na mekɔ bra panyi wo of Israel na fi ordinary no asase me iya no akwa bagim
bra panyi
yes me give say bibia eboko eye do body ase do body ase ofa bia dwumadie ni na minim say also uwo ma abusuafo no yawo aha no sa it's a man I want to promo video mu there
officer o chese o tipanti
officer o fanti ni odi oka panti a
ya nanti Ghana nyina ni kasa na
e maximize already o team for I don't know okure ejo faizai kunu yes me tu dwumadi no de ma
me kai ada amankwa
okay
e kama kwa jina no hunu ese me ka fanboy oya de
CEO yeah
oya de papa wa peja no ho abo ablabom
sa
nipa ese oye big respect to the man CEO no ese o ma ha no adane
yeah
man kwa you too oya de the person you Yakopon boa memenda yakogwai for fantano
wasa antina fantana bano
oh okay go ya ba e pon e kofi ai ya pon e kofi
e be stop me ho
edukati e still bo fe ya ba no full kas be ni na toto aso ya ba Cape Coast
ya ba
yeah kuni asema fa kan I know the guy said sir do out of hope sir na say issue na before dia enomoi enomoi ahindie akafia epie issue before before ka say pie issue na before enomoi
and they Shaolin ne kung fu se na agidi a obudi agidi wo hoyi sana bibini and establishes
we any can na no person mo friend no e be I worried say questions so be say no say okasa wo passion because I was be ni no frey na kan before ho asem o say tie dia and before mo way and say this a fire me that big them me ya na areho yeah unu say bibini no be kevu no go etiko
yeah
Solomon David Moses
sir
2 million nyaye awo go kasaye enu black man
na ono ehwekra na black people na wo kan history ni kire say Moses yetime eni nyame ehye mrama nyame kra epene so yes
ebi figure so
ebi see that o
a black man from Joshua
sir
ono command ye na Elia
yes yanya heroes o I say ono
Committee. So we na say ni hu o bi awo ye ba yeah obi won mo na you quiet on kasa o to me
yes
enti before to me en ko pode ma ye no enye to me kitwa o
David mreso
yeah
Solomon no mreso we ni na ye before Abraham no mreso
yeah ewiase nyansa a nkopɔ de nipa ɔde bibini Solomon.
Yes, of course.
ɛno na ɛka sɛ Samson de la da no de la da no ɔno no de ba twa bibini
sa
nsoro afa ka sɛ eburu
sa
ɔtwe
Samson yɛ bibini black man yɛ man ne tumi a ɔsɔre gyina a ɔka ne ho a na amanfoɔ tete gu na satan nka na boni ni wiase
dabi
satan na boni ni wiase
enti na ɛba ne fɛn ana me da no clock no
me hu sɛ sɛ na me pagya na me nim sɛ ne ma hyɛ nka me de me sa
hwɛ afi de obi en for Bible na me check kra e pia na professor dem Song of Songs Song of Songs chapter 1 verse 5 to 6 kan yankopɔn asɛ yankopɔn kwa no ɔne abɔfo na connection bibiri tire bi a no ɔne ho mɔbɔ no wei na wɔfɛ ɛma amanfoɔ hu sɛ ewiase wɔ fi onyankopɔn ɔne blacks na dele yɛ ɔne before na dele yɛ ohwɛ yɛ bi na hwɛ a kɔkɔ ato yɛ ebe yɛ
Songs of Songs chapter 1 verse 5 and 6 say okay I am black but commonly
in the Bible.
Yes.
In the Bible.
Yes.
And so one more hey, a bit problem we say no, a bit before a page. Sorry. Yeah.
It's almost sorry.
You forgot to say. No say before. No say before called Asia. China for you change what China about
and yet net program you are
being happy, sir. I mean, you say,
sir.
Bible,
sir.
Never blessed you,
Solomon.
Obano
of Solomon.
Yes. Obano Solomon channel, no, or come from the home.
I say, I am black, but commonly. Oh, yeah, daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. 6. Look not upon me because I am black.
Look
not upon me because
me a 12 will be. And then 12 will be. Shape and for so be a come, baby, I will be a gentleman or 10 a professional.
Yes.
African days.
Yes.
African ladies.
Sir.
Yẹn onipa ọdún nante yẹ fẹmi wọs tumi náà pọ̀ bá wàlẹ́ o ọdún ebiara fẹ́ Ethiopia ẹnna nso wúlò àwọn ọdún yẹn gbọdọ̀ Africa yẹn kó pọ̀ tumi ọbọ̀ ìwé ẹsẹ̀ nìyẹn náà wọ́n nante yẹ ebifọ́ ìpínlẹ̀ mẹ́ wọ́n ti Numbers 12 verse 1.
Numbers chapter 12 verse 1.
And me will be the animal in the name of Jesus. Oh yale. They say from the Bible. They go point it in the before Sir, they don't ever.
No need baby.
In the Bible.
Na offer say next week of an yama man who be a few of a honor. Say next week or the you Europe the any man for who be
oh look hwɛ kòmíyɛ hó ɛhùn ìbùkún ọgbọnì ìyàsẹ no ɔne boni andeli
da ɔne boni ndeli
no maka baako akyerɛw mmienu nso meka akyerɛw
Numbers chapter 12 verse 1. And me also
for the Moses.
Yes.
Moses.
Yes.
And for the Musa.
Yeah.
Moses. And Miriam and Aaron opeyere awale sa. Also ọba Ethiopia kọsi Ethiopia for ọmọ maa no ọmọ wọn fẹ kai
bibi ni baba ohun àwọn sẹ yẹ fẹ mi ahyehyẹ
afẹ nukuro mu maa
sa
kama yeah boy
and Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses.
Miriam and Aaron
spoke against Moses
because of the
Cushite woman whom he had married, for he had married a woman of Cush.
Before my
Ethiopia. Cush from my Ethiopia. Flat. As a plate. Flat.
Africa. Who did the neighbor say? Kai.
Now, who are now Bibia? I was a white man that I saw. I mean, the son of Faba. I say, yeah, could you trust so? Okay. Before I'm not for who say, we are going to see a son no. Only Buni and Andele, sir. Only Buni and Andele, sir. Bible say, you be used to cry by Egypt. The boy, sir, pepe. You from before, sir. You say, Abraham, or the Isaac. Now, about final draw of Buni, come on, sir. Nothing of them will say, map no, I'm so movie. Now, I saw the photo, too. And I thought very general, and yes, I'm get to only power country, let's do a buyer no. Me. I did a tell you, because everything you know. Now, but you say no, watching for pay. Not be a prepare. Fitasa. Who had give it to her. Sapa pepe. The come to I don't need. Sure. Okay. Oh. I mean, you mean son and fish on that. Yeah. Muhuni. Only Mose. Only black. And to be proud. And catch it. That's a sawad and catch it. Now, whom so now, but you bet to me a year catch it. And catch it. Yeah, you present what yes, you bet to me a year catch it. And until you say, and catch it. Yes, so crying. And until yes, I've been doing your back. We enjoy to channel. You go on it. Another black man. That's what I'm saying. If you're fellow Noah, if I can watch them last week, you know, the man named Son of me before. And so before I catch her, say, Noah, no, or will be no yellow. Number 5 GD, yes. You put two, I saw them. I was being a pastor before, you know that. Good. Yes. Tell me a picture. Sir. Our address is I know I say you red. Black. We are JD. Sir, and then you say China Crumpon before I'm starting China. Sir. And to say the beginning of a connection a pre-righteous life you go for obeti no they say where in the Bible I go for no boni a day later yeah or say Abraham we say so you go for o come to the town na go for no for san kan abofra no black man dey actually Bible open bi no no but our Bible read tire we open bi a Israel consort Israel obenye bia ma ododo aha Abraham ono kura ne poma no saa no pa mincho bia na Abraham sa hi Abraham you see sa yen pumi che na for say enka chire kura encourage you. And you the beginning, sir. Now, I don't want to no be abenti na you sir. What it? You say man be a quote to two. Yeah, sir. Okay. For the joke. Thank you. Sure. You didn't na say na you. I say about for buy no. Or the pictures buy. I be say about for. Sir.
ama afame yagye di akusufo eka yagye di unse Muhammad Muhammad omo no kere wo shiri na no the body gas kere wo na no omo le blacks so no the political team person no black man Ethiopia ni of Ethiopia
when na yenimo enti nimianum Islam for nyina no saa ne ma we nyina no okoka ne ono musia se na Christopher ye ne ono musia na we say o ka say Jesus is black Moses is white Jesus is white omo ya black ah na get say omo say
asama of kan no ebe happy say e bitumi abetake lead
of course
a black man
of akade of say of anko akade
so we ya do
yeah of course
that for for time ama ya ho a
sa because
e bitumi
bibini ne tamfo ni nua bibini saa ne aye ho o nua bibini pese obewu sa okọ obetwitwa 1960 a na okeka
so me profession am for say obi say me bua da matara me
sa
e go pro we fit ase e do ba we no ben we go pro ni aduma
sa bra ẹni tí wọn bá wọn sí Old Testament ní ẹtwa mu no.
Thank you.
sẹ́ni nyina no ọ̀nà yẹn mímu wọ́n mi kọ́ ní.
hwẹ́ Noah ọ̀sán wa àyànkọ́fọ́ mìíràn ọmọ pọ̀ nínú ẹ̀bùwà
sáà
ọmọ nyinaa no gye fẹ́kyerẹ́ etu ẹ̀dá mi o ẹ̀dá fẹ̀rẹ̀ o ẹ̀bá àgbà náà fẹ̀rẹ̀ rẹ̀ ẹ̀fì Jerusalem.
Okay. ẹnu ni o. Okay. Okay, Bible no you. Where original African Heritage Bible.
Study Bible.
Where original African Heritage Study Bible. Original African Heritage Study Bible. Ẹnu aha Bible o pe bia ofre of Israel onsa ebetumi akabi. Okay. Yo
oh me kan na no e ya sadi ehun se oni yakopon tem e be close o mo yakopon no ye adwumi na no kan na no chemo white man akopon wo mu
obi ani white ni bi ani
papa na oba ya e fe for the Jesus Christo e boa
yeah
thank you na amanfo de di adwumi na no me pufu amanfo se sa na e bibini wa ha ya fe se oba bi fe no commercial woman oyerepa wana benya ababuru kan yo no onu ni bibiri
yo no mo fe
bibiri
tum
bibiri enti no so o he me bibiri e kwa kwa to yem che na chia
emu yakura oba kama owo sisi tian
yes
owo sisi tian ni bi
bibiri
palita abifo de ye ho fe nti o kan odika sa
bibiri enti no bi pa on me say uname me wa abuso ana o mo no o ko pano no nantie na ya blacks
nko a
obi na tie ncha no
sa so mu nim Noah ani Abraham no ma omu of Adam mo hu say black over ni over Israel no okọ in term of share before
that so e week no
e ni nyina be pie
okọ Israel now on blacks no am free enye say obi free America mo ko bo no indigenous
ọmọ mo te ho no
no mo e play no wo hu bibi aho
ya na de over there no fi say tuntum o se afi no
tuntum che no
and he say hey sana no cry get off a cry say obre
Ni broni.
cry Mary ka mu nyina se
afa the Miriam owo Yeshua before ka say oye broni
ko broni pa fita
je yo and display
Africa am wo hu senya broni ba ya de pictures ba ya so e di bi kira wa mo hu say ya before Bible no e before dia ha nti eno ehun asem na ye ne wo kan sa
na ko wi o book we say obi antobi
okay
the valley of the dry bones
okay
book we say
okay
we
The Valley of the Dry Bones.
The Valley of the Dry Bones. What can we now be new? Wouldn't say to say, go for me. I thank you. Okay. You're not before you
consultant.
Man, be a serious or well, Samuel ni baba na nkyɛn ɔhɔnboa Samuel ni ba ɛna yesu kwa sɛ ɔkra wamale mɛmɛ num de ɔtu ti sɛ kwampo no ɛnyɛ okunu ɛyɛ ompuna ɔtwe mpuna ya ɛni ni na yesu tiwani bi ɛni ni wale no papa yi akɔ hɔ ya bɛba wakɔ hɔ saa wale na so no yesu tiwani mu no ɛni ni what's for me now? Jesus say. Bono I am sa. O yale. Yeshua. Yeah.
A friend Yeshua. And then Wednesday no. I mean who can be Vensa. Toyota Vensa. Na Papa Natural Yeshua Hamashiach. Me ya say ka be hu nanim ba ma. Okay.
What do you have sir? Ama yeni ehunni yeni a problem into no say aside from the South Africa hanu a edi obuo mo no why boni o da so fa buchire aba Africa ase e ko kwampo ni no nso no oba ade ono bibini etu adamo me last one so na etefo asa dem bi papa na obeje yase nkwa no o de nkwa je bia e yase no man say ayebuni everywhere ayebuni the calendar ayebuni ayini
papa na yabo ni din Jesus na yende yesi yemfe Jesus yemfe ni Yeshua no ayebibini tum onu nie ne picture no nie patriotie for unfa enchire ye aha ayebibini tum on say no dress no tuntum pa abɔgye no so wɔn sɛ na tie no saa pɛpɛɛpɛ
nti no me time nti no me sɛ ma amanfo hu sɛ enka akyiri Africa enye late na me nimu na me nimu so ko gye broni story ediye Onyankopɔn ɔne bibini ne tu adamo oguso ne before so no e tu adamo bibini Onyankopɔn ɔne before e tu adamo oguso ne before e tu adamo so wogye asɔre a ɛyɛ what one concept na wagye die but when you say Africa no dia bo Onyankopɔn ɛne monyam ano si
yɛda se emere ne kɔpaa MCR ebetimi afa kɔ bɛɛ baako mienu bi okay yɛbetimi afa kɔ bɛɛ baako mienu bi na afei yɛ dwumadie ne yɛde aba na wie yɛ ɛno nti wo deɛ etiefo abusuafoɔ a mene mu di dwuma yi mo fa nkyɛ me ɛyɛ asɛm no na ɛbɛ hello hallelujah
Wapo to say
oba dia domo ye hu ye ya odi ni fa pa afi
enkroma na ntia no ma idira so apa ba se na ba ka program
okay
no so so na nkati of idira so ba bo no de che ro me 20 oji ana ade ma me aba de e shamu ane mo bi ni wo history ka we ya o chechi ya begina na ntia so be ye before you ko and you beba Canada no make say about the aduma bibini be fa we are seeing as I could tell you go did the full program make a transfer you say include beba na ba akatia
yo ina ba ya da say thank you na for so ti ya by sense ye mere ne kopa emere no edietia ye mo fa nchen se nde munya emere no hello di ni fa kwa afefi hello dini fa kwa afefi
yo I was here for na 24 about the oncam on papa we family match yiji
okay
e mo ma ba so papa and then me ti okwa na mania ti so nye bibini papa me da was Israel me da was over the one come when I'm the jam on Shiramu.
Yes, so yada wase entientiemu oba na ebre ne ko na afei dwumadie no sa pepepe. Hello, dini fa kwa afefi.
Yo, you're coming to jam to Boom East.
Ipacho wanu di sem.
Yo, yada offer the power na the offer can unpack the impina about from the buyer no omo da yen. Na ni na na se me matu kwan baby akofeli dem pato stadium you see na bon se uko Libya you could do on na ho na you see na bon ti the offer can na no kre abofon be da dawa.
Yes, so yada wase papa we the efe se na amoye ne ntentiem de mayen no yada wase. Okay. Last caller. MCRC and last caller. Hello, Odini Fakwa Afefi.
Hello.
Yeah, Odini Fakwa Afefi.
Me kasa free ahafo. Osoko jobo Suzana.
Me pa to yo. Wa ndi sem fatu dwane enko.
Me ni sem me boma ba so pa nyamen chiramo.
Yo.
Okay, man do say. It's what to chiro omratintia. Missions na borfaro patia. Nene nyame do mama mu chira ni adom. Amodi di ni. Nyame kam o chira do ya.
Ye da se pa se waka ne sa e de amayen aha e na calling ni nyina no ye di ebesi. Na book we eye book a ye recommend se obi abebo modin na wanya bi kasa obehu eye bi before enyuma bi a before ye were heroes say oko ancient history obehu say yes ye can try be from Moors omanya omuhu abakosema kenkan eye Portuguese any Spain chese odie mink kan bebere sanse of abewuram ni nyina mu nti mem pepere me ho entutumrika na abi before ye pese ye mamu hu say ye were heroes omaye djuma kese hese ye celebrate wom me kan sa na kese ye hwehwe enyama omo ye na me no mi ye follow na ye hu say sa ye won abi before kesefo omutimi ye enyama kese se na abrofo no omo heroes no omo ya omo celebrate omo de omo abeto ya adwunu mu anunti obi o kasa obi bo odingre no abo ye friend say Socrates no abo deben kase deben Newton kase we no na de abetoto ya suma amenne ye heroes no obi say David obi say King Yadidia Solomon no Queen of Sheba no enema omo ye no obi no ya nya bio wanye mu fakura nanso enne ya ponu nyina to ni nyina gua bibini efi se ontimi enye efi mpane yakura no bibini se hey ontimi enye ene enuntina dwumadie ofa ahyehya odeba de kire wo se bibini sorry na obetumi aye aha ana berebe ma kwan ama de dwumadie ni nyina aba na wieye empanyifo amene omu edi dwumai eye ofa ya opoku dankwa a oye executive director edema eku efe no Freedom Mind Movement ode ne ba Israel Nkrumah a ono so eye national coordinator edema eku efe no Freedom Mind Movement dwumadie na ye di ene no asama na da pruti no eye bibifo ayampa se ebefa ye ntoma pa afura ye wo bibi papa bi ewo yanim na wiase no ye besan adi anim biem eno ye question na ofa bisa ya oyi ano ofa na bisa ye ena one ne ba Israel omu yi ano ti ano ye no ebi enene yahwe me a me di dwumadie mu tia me di ene Kofi Kumi usia me babia na obo sa di na meje wo so obo ade dom yen na se ode chen ya da se ne ye besan hia makramo bye bye.
Siboni mwa mati asaye